Welcome back to part 17 of Through the Darkest of Times. As you saw in the last episode, we're struggling a little bit for morale. We're starting to get it back. We are going to send Paul, Roman and Gustav into hiding. And Horst and Sebastian are going to loot some destroyed buildings. I have no idea what happened there. We have 42 supporters at the moment. As I make my way up the stairwell to my apartment, I heard noises coming from the apartment of my neighbour, Otto Karst, a proud member of the NSDAP. The door is wide open. Take a peek. Otto's been a proud swastika-wearing Nazi for years. I've always stayed clear of him, and I don't think he's ever suspected me. I don't want to risk trouble now, but a loud thud draws my attention just as I pass his door. A lamp has been knocked over. Check if anyone is home. Hello? Anyone there? I call for the door. There is no answer. Inside Otto's apartment, an open suitcase lies on the floor with an assortment of clothes thrown in and around it. Just in civilian clothes, Otto rushes in, oblivious to my presence, throws shoes on the floor and walks out again. In such a rush. With each passing week, it's becoming clearer that Germany is losing this war, and if the Soviets reach Berlin, there will be terrible consequences for any Nazis still here. Otto is ditching his swastikas and running. Come back later and search his place. I wait in my apartment until I'm sure Herr Karst has left, and then I search his apartment for anything useful. I found a notebook with names and dates. Lost 2 supporters gain 12 marks. Obviously, you lose 10 morale each week as well. I need to try and gain some back. They get into sort that week. This should gain us plus 6 morale. Horse thinks he's been seen, plus 3 hits of paint. And he's going to hiding. Feel much safer, plus 2 morale, so minus 2. Overall, along with the minus 2 supporters. Netherlands under attack. The German army starts offensive against the German positions west of the Dutch city of Nijmegen on the Lower Rhine. Paraguay at war. Paraguay declares war on Germany and Japan. Peace in Hungary. German and Hungarian troops capitulate in the Hungarian capital of Budapest to Red Army units. Paul Weinrab is late to our meeting. By the time he arrives, he's out of breath. No one is safe anymore, he says. Does someone rattle us out? No, but it feels just as bad, he says. I was in line for rations with my friend Jenny, and she said something about the Nazis getting us into this mess, not realising that SS men were nearby. What happened? One of them confronted her and asked if she was an insurgent. She froze in terror and then ran. The SS shot her right there, in broad daylight. It was horrible. So sorry. I hadn't done nothing wrong, but times are so desperate now, everything is so terrible. Those animals don't think twice about killing anyone. That's what I mean when I say no one is safe anymore. We need to be careful, I say. Alright, minus 5 morale there because of that, which really doesn't help us at all. Right, slogans on the wall, that gives us plus 5 morale. Send the 2 most risky ones to go and do that. Sebastian and Roman can go loot some buildings, and Gustav, special Democrat. So probably best not to send him to Conservatives. Convince forced labourers? Nah, it's not great, but we'll risk it. I'm going to the cinema today. There are only a few that are still open these days, and I need a distraction. When I arrived, there were only 2 seats left by a group of students, one next to an older couple. Sit by the couple. Say a polite hello to the older couple as I sit down, and they introduce themselves as Ernest and Charlotte. The projector starts up. I can't help rolling my eyes as I hear the familiar fanfare that accompanies a Wushenschau, a clip of Goebbels war propaganda that passes for news these days, drawing into the victory that seems far out of reach. Students sit tall at the sound of the fanfare and look rapt as the moving pictures of German soldiers in battle. I hear Ernest snort and Charlotte elbows him and comports himself. Nod to him. I catch his eye, glance at the screen and smirk. We exchange the slightest nods, nothing more. Very dangerous to show any lack of enthusiasm for the war effort. I hear gasps from the audience and look back to the film. But it can't be Dresden. I can hardly believe my eyes as the film shows a city in ruins as smoke rises. Dresden's been obliterated by Allied bombers. The announcer describes a loss of life in furious tones. Members of the audience openly weep. Revenge tries one of the pigs must pay. We then witness a new weapon, a giant rocket that can supposedly fly without a pilot all the way to England. An announcer proudly states that this weapon of retribution will be the end to our enemies. Ridiculous, says Ernest a little too loudly. One of the students stands, angry. What do you mean by that? Come on, I say. How long have we been winning this war? And here we all are, ready to run for our lives to a bomb shelter at a moment's notice. More students stand. True German patriots welcome this news. German ingenuity will win this war. Keep an eye on Ernest and Charlotte. Look over my shoulder and see two policemen standing at the exit. This could get ugly. Charlotte tries to calm her husband, but Ernest stands up. This war has brought in nothing but death and destruction, and for what? Try to stop him. If I can do anything, one of the policemen steps down the aisle and grabs Ernest by the arm. Halt! You're under arrest for activity detrimental to the German nation. Right, the police. Officers, I think the gentleman is confused. I try to interrupt, but Ernest shoves the officer aside and darts towards the exit. Ernest, no! Charlotte screams, but the second officer draws his gun and shoots. Screams echo in the theatre. I grab Charlotte's arm and we hurry out of the cinema as quickly as possible. Well, that was lovely. Gustav meets forced labourers. We gain 3 supporters. He thinks he's been seen. Plus 2 morale there. Bastian gets 8 buckets plus 6 morale. And up here writing slogans. 11 supporters plus 5 morale there. Big -2 overall still, but plus 12 to the supporters. Food rations have been reduced by more than 10%. Total mobilisation. Women and girls to help. They include the formation of women's battalions. Bombing of Dresden. Almost completely destroyed by British air raid. If the Soviets ever reach Berlin, I don't know if there'd be anything left for them to invade, says Roman. We may just all kill each other first. Why do you say that? Outside, I saw a fight. Certainly not the first one I've seen, but this one's between 2 mothers, over food stamps. Tore into each other as their kids watched. That's terrible. The will to survive can bring out the worst in us. If we lose our humanity, we're doomed to miserable existence. That lost us even more morale there. Okay, so we can gain some marks. We can have a little party that will get us a lot of morale. So that's what we need to try and do. We need 17 total, we're on 36, so we're still a long way away there. But if we go and do all of the ones for donations, we should be a bit better. And again, we will go and loot destroyed buildings to boost some morale. Lost 3 supporters, 15 marks donated this week. Another 3 paint buckets, plus 6 morale, but Paul thinks he's seen. Of course, that witness. Gustav visits known supporters, asks for donations, gains 11. Plus 3 as well to morale there. Roman also supports, wow, plus 30 there. He thinks he's been seen, plus 3 morale. And Horst visits academics. There's a suspicion, but we enforce that. And another 14 gains there. You have to meet her, says Waltrude, as we make our way to the hideout in the community gardens. You must talk to her. What did she tell you? Waltrude shakes her head. No, you talk to her. You will understand. We enter the hideout. The young woman sits on a chair and looks at me with a serious face. Can you introduce us? Oh, I apparently didn't click on that. Lily, this is Horst. You trust him. He wants to know what happened to you. Lily nods. What happened to you? My name is Lily Blaustein. I was a prisoner in the death camp in Auschwitz. The worst camp of them all. Can you describe to me what happens there? I've got a feeling this might go into some details, so if you do want to skip ahead or come back to the next video, I completely understand. The prisoners for Auschwitz are worried that the world won't believe what the Germans are doing there. That's how bad it is. I believe you. They burned people alive. From my barrack, I had a clear line of sight to one of the 5 chimneys. I saw everything with my own eyes. That's what they do in Auschwitz. What happened to you? I arrived in Auschwitz in a cattle car. They brought us to a special block where they shaved my hair, took my clothes, tattooed a number on my arm. This was all done by the prisoners themselves. Were you able to talk to them? Yes. I had a conversation with the girl who was shaving off my hair. She asked me, what did you do before? What did you do before you came here? What did you say? I said, I used to play the violin. She said, this is good for you. He loves music. You can play an instrument, it might save your life. He? Who was she referring to? There was a doctor at the camp. His name was Mengele. They called him the Angel of Death. Doctor? When the trains arrived, Dr. Mengele was there to look for twins. He took them to his laboratory and experimented on them until they collapsed and died. Dear God. This is what Dr. Mengele did. Experimented on people. Children. He murdered them. But Mengele also liked Schumann, great German classical composer, Robert Schumann. That can't be true. I told you, you wouldn't believe me. But it's still true. Dr. Mengele loved Schumann, liked to play his music for the doctor. I do believe you. Go on, please. Tell me, how is it possible that someone who's educated as Dr. Mengele, who knows my magnificent music, that someone like him is experimenting on little children, murdering them? The ideology, maybe, says Lily. Once they finished processing us, I was naked, without a hair on my head, with a number burned into my arm. The officer approached me and asked me a few questions. What did the officer want from you? He wanted to know where I came from, and if I still had family there. I said that I came from Berlin, that I had an uncle there. I took out a postcard and told him what to write to my uncle. What did he want you to write to your uncle? He dictated what he wanted me to write. Dear uncle, I safely arrived in Auschwitz. They're treating us well. Please send a little money and some sweets. They forced you to lie to your relatives? Yes. They wanted people in Germany to believe everything was fine. Tell me about the trains. The doctor and an officer intercept the new prisoners at the train platform, where they arrive in cattle cars. There, they carry out the selection. Selection based on what? You ask each prisoner for their age and state of health. Your unknown arrivals tend to talk about their health issues, not knowing that by telling them they've signed their own death warrants. Children and old people were sorted out right away. They sort them. Left, right, left, right. Left is to life, right is into fire. Into the fire. At night, flames blaze into the sky. They burn the children alive. Grown-ups are usually killed by gas before that. But if the guards are too busy, they just burn everyone. It can't be true. One could hear the screams. Over the screams, the guard made us play our instrument. The orchestra had to play while they burned people alive. The orchestra you were a member of? Yes. As I said, Dr. Mengele had picked me because I played the violin. Not very good though. None of us were good musicians. We were all children, scared to death, forced to play. How come you're here now? Blind luck. One of the officers like me sent me to a so-called normal concentration camp, one where they only kill people by forcing them to work and starve them to death. And from there you escaped? There was a group of resistance fighters who planned an escape. I joined in and gave me the contact for your group. I'm in Berlin to find out if my brother is still here somewhere. What's his name? Gregor Blaustein. Or I doubt he still goes by that name. Do you know him? He takes out a photo and shows it to me. The face looks unfamiliar. No, I'm afraid not. He shrugs. I need to keep looking. What are you going to do now that you know what really happens in the camps in the east? Spread the truth, the world must know. That's good, I guess. Do you have any other questions? Just one, if I may. How can you continue to live after this? The Germans have destroyed almost everything, but music is indestructible. Music can't be destroyed. That is what gives me hope. That was not enjoyable, and we are going to end the episode. I'm not going to do it because it's wrong after that. We'll see you in the next one.